California Property Ownership and Land Use Controls and Regulations Series. Episode 1. As the don of a powerful mafia family, Vito Corleone, played by Marlon Brando, sits at his desk, surrounded by his trusted advisors. The room is tense as they discuss their latest real estate acquisition, a prime piece of land that they plan to turn into a luxury hotel. But there's a problem: the property has multiple liens and assessments that they were not aware of. As they discuss their options, they hear a loud bang from the other side of the room. It's Luca Brasi, played by Lenny Montana, their loyal enforcer who is known for his intimidating presence. But instead of his usual serious demeanor, he's stumbling around with a smoke detector in his hand, trying to figure out how to turn it off. The room erupts in laughter as Vito tells him to leave it be and focus on the task at hand. But their problems don't end there. They soon find out that the property is a stigmatized one, with a history of toxic mold and structural issues. They need to figure out a way to deal with this without disclosing the information to potential buyers. As they brainstorm, one of Vito's advisors, Tom Hagen, played by Robert Duvall, suggests using window security bars to keep potential buyers out of the contaminated areas. But the joke falls flat as Vito reminds him that they are trying to sell a luxury hotel, not a prison. Meanwhile, Sonny Corleone, played by James Caan, bursts into the room, out of breath from running. He's just come from an inspection of the property, where he discovered that there are multiple easements on the land. But he's not sure if they are easements by express grant, reservation, implication, necessity, or prescription. The confusion leads to a hilarious exchange where Vito jokes that he never took property law in college. As the scene comes to a close, they receive news of a condemnation notice on the property. But Vito remains unfazed, telling his advisors that they will deal with it like they always do, with a little bit of muscle and a lot of cunning. Nino Rota's iconic score builds in the background, adding to the tension and humor of the scene. The combination of action, comedy, and mafia real estate magnates creates a unique and entertaining experience that audiences won't soon forget. California Property Ownership and Land Use Controls and Regulations Series. Episode 2. Interior Mafia Boss's Office. Day. We see a group of mafia members sitting around a table with their boss, Joey. Joey is a large man with a thick New York accent and a short temper. Joey, alright, listen up. We got a big problem. Some jerk-off developer is trying to build on our turf. We got to put a stop to it. One of Joey's henchmen, Vince, speaks up. Vince, what can we do, boss? Joey, we got to put a lien on the property. Make it so they can't build nothing until we get our cut. Another henchman, Mike, chimes in. Mike, but what about all the encumbrances and title issues? Joey, sighs, I don't know, I ain't no lawyer. We got to find somebody who knows this stuff. Suddenly, the door bursts open and in walks a nerdy-looking man with thick glasses and a goatee. This is Sid, the mafia's real estate attorney. Sid, Joey, I'm here to help. We need to file a lis pendens and assess all the easements, covenants, and deed restrictions. Joey and the rest of the mafia members stare at him, bewildered. Joey, what the hell are you talking about? Sid, sighs, let me put it in simpler terms. We need to make sure nobody else can touch this property until we get our money. We got to put a specific lien on it, and file for probate if we have to. Joey scratches his head in confusion. Joey, I still don't get it. Can't you just put a general lien on it and call it a day? Sid shakes his head, it's not that simple, Joey. We got to do this right. As Joey and Sid continue to argue, we see one of the henchmen, Ricky, standing awkwardly in the background. Suddenly, his phone rings. Ricky, interphone, yeah, what's up? On the other end of the line, we hear a panicked voice. Voice, Ricky, there's been an encroachment on our territory. Ricky, sighs, I'll take care of it. As Ricky hangs up, he turns to Joey and the rest of the group. Ricky, guys, we got a problem. There's been an encroachment on our territory. Joey rolls his eyes. Joey, great, just what we need. What kind of encroachment? Ricky, it's some guy with a damn bulldozer, trying to dig up the sidewalk. He's got a mechanic's lien on the property or something. Joey slams his fist on the table. Joey, goddammit. Alright, let's go take care of this guy. As Joey and the rest of the mafia members storm out of the room, we see Sid still arguing with Joey about the legalities of the situation. The scene transitions to outside, where we see Joey and his men confronting the bulldozer driver. As they argue, we hear the soundtrack kick in with a lively, upbeat tune, accentuating the comedic elements of the scene. As the argument escalates, Joey suddenly pulls out a document from his pocket. Joey, smiling triumphantly, "You see this, you son of a bitch? This here is a per ortvi. You know what that means?" The bulldozer driver looks confused. Bulldozer driver, no? Joey, grinning, it fade in, exterior New York City street. Day. We open on a busy street in New York City. A group of mafia real estate magnates are gathered outside a rundown building, arguing with a group of construction workers. Mafia boss, what do you mean, you can't finish the job? We paid you good money. Construction worker, sorry, boss. There's been an encroachment on the property. We can't continue until it's resolved. Mafia boss, encroachment? What the hell is that? Suddenly, a group of lawyers approach the scene, led by a nerdy-looking attorney named IRV. IRV, I'm afraid there's been an encumbrance placed on this property. It's currently under a general lien. Mafia boss, a what now? IRV, a general lien. It means there's a legal claim against the property. The mafia boss and his henchmen exchange confused looks. Mafia boss, look, we don't have time for this legal mumbo-jumbo. We need this property finished ASAP. Just then, a group of rival gangsters arrive on the scene, led by a suave and sophisticated mafia boss named Tony. Tony, smirking, looks like you boys are having some trouble with your title. The mafia boss bristles at the taunt. Mafia boss, you think you're so smart, Tony. But we'll finish this property before you know it. Tony, laughing, oh, I'm not so sure about that. You see, there's been a lis pendens filed against this property. It means it's currently tied up in a legal dispute. The construction workers begin to pack up their equipment and leave, leaving the mafia boss and his henchmen fuming. Mafia boss, this is ridiculous. We'll never get this property finished with all these damn legal obstacles. Just then, a group of bumbling contractors arrive on the scene, led by a hapless foreman named Bob. Bob, hey guys, we're here to fix the plumbing. The mafia boss looks at Bob with a mix of confusion and frustration. Mafia boss, plumbing? We don't need plumbing, we need this property finished. Bob, shaking his head, no, number. You don't understand. There's been an issue with the probate. We're here to fix it. The mafia boss throws up his hands in frustration as the other characters continue to bicker and argue. Cut to, interior the building. Later. As the chaos continues outside, we cut to the inside of the building. A group of mafia henchmen are inspecting the property, when suddenly a massive chandelier falls from the ceiling and nearly crushes them. Mafia henchman number 1, holy shit, that was close. Mafia henchman number 2, laughing, you guys are lucky I'm here to keep you safe. Suddenly, the camera pans over to reveal that the second henchman is wearing a comically oversized bulletproof vest. Cut to, exterior New York City street. Later. The chaos outside continues as the rival gangsters and lawyers continue to bicker and argue. Tony, smiling, looks like you boys have got your work cut out for you. Mafia boss, frustrated, yeah, well we'll figure something out. Just then, a group of eccentric billionaires arrive on the scene, led by a flamboyant real estate mogul named Richard. California Property Ownership and Land Use Controls and Regulations Series. Episode 3. Fade in, exterior New York City skyline. Day. We see the towering buildings of New York City in the distance. We then zoom into a luxurious penthouse suite on the top floor of one of the buildings. Interior penthouse suite. Day. We see 4 well-dressed mafia bosses sitting around a large conference table. They are discussing the latest real estate deal they want to close, which involves acquiring a new building. Their conversation is interrupted by the arrival of their eccentric lawyer, who bursts into the room with a frantic energy. Lawyer, out of breath, gentlemen, we have a problem. Boss 1, what is it, lawyer? Lawyer, the owner of the building you want to acquire has placed a lis pendens on it. And on top of that, there's an involuntary alienation clause that could cause problems with the sale. Boss 2, sarcastic, oh great, just what we needed. The lawyer continues to frantically list off legal terms and problems with the sale. The bosses grow increasingly frustrated with the situation, and tension begins to rise. Suddenly, the door bursts open, and in walks the dominant tenant of the building they want to acquire, a scrappy, sarcastic woman named Jo. Jo. What are you guys doing here? This is my building. Boss 3, we're here to make you an offer you can't refuse. Jo, smirking, I don't think so. This is a prescriptive easement. I've been here longer than you've been in the mafia. The bosses exchange frustrated glances as Joe continues to throw legal jargon at them. Just then, a group of construction workers burst into the room, carrying large, obtrusive equipment. Construction worker, grinning, "Hey, we're here to start construction on the new addition to the building." The bosses look around in confusion, wondering when they approved construction on the building. Boss 4, exasperated, "What addition?" Construction worker, shrugging, "The one you guys signed off on last week. It's in the express grant clause." The bosses groan in unison as the construction workers begin setting up the equipment. Suddenly, a catchy and upbeat song starts playing in the background, as the scene turns into a montage of chaos and hilarity. The bosses are forced to dodge construction equipment, dodge legal terms, and deal with Joe's constant sass and attitude. As the song reaches its climax, the bosses finally manage to close the deal and acquire the building. They collapse into their chairs, exhausted but victorious. Boss 1, breathless, "Well, that was certainly a specific lean on our time." The group shares a laugh as the camera pulls back to show the New York City skyline once again. Fade out. Music credits, title, Real Estate Mafia composer, The Bebop Bandits album, Crooks and Con Artists. California Property Ownership and Land Use Controls and Regulations Series. Episode 4. Fade in, exterior luxury beachfront villa. Day. The camera pans across a stunning California beachfront property with an exquisite villa and manicured gardens. Suddenly, a loud revving engine and screeching tires interrupt the tranquility. A sleek black sports car pulls up to the villa entrance, and out steps Joey, a brash and overconfident mafia real estate magnate, followed by his loyal but bumbling henchman, Sal. "Joey, to Sal, we got to make sure we close this deal, Sal. This beachfront property is prime real estate, and we need it in our portfolio." Sal, nervously, "Yeah, boss. No problem, boss." As they walk toward the villa, they are confronted by a large sign that reads "Easement restrictions apply." Joey, dismissively, "Easement schmeasement. We'll deal with that later." As they enter the villa, they are greeted by the owner, a sophisticated and elegant older woman named Mrs. Livingston. Mrs. Livingston, smiling warmly, "Welcome, gentlemen. I hope you're here to make a serious offer." Joey, smiling confidently, "You can count on it, Mrs. Livingston. But first, let's take a look around." As they tour the property, Joey's arrogance and disregard for property laws become increasingly apparent. He steps on rare plants, smokes a cigar in the living room, and even tries to remove a valuable fixture from the wall. Mrs. Livingston, alarmed, "Mr. Joey, please be careful. That is a priceless artifact." Joey, nonchalantly, "Relax, dollface. I know what I'm doing." Suddenly, a loud rumbling sound interrupts their conversation. The ground beneath them starts to shake, and a massive sinkhole opens up in the garden. Joey, panicked, "What the hell is going on?" Sal, terrified, "Boss, I think it's erosion. We got to get out of here." As they scramble to escape, Joey and Sal accidentally trigger a mechanism that opens a secret passage in the villa. Joey, excitedly, "Jackpot. Let's see where this leads." They follow the passage to a hidden underground room, filled with dusty artifacts and antique furniture. But as they start to explore, the door slams shut behind them, and they realize they are trapped. Joey, angrily, "Who the hell set this up? I'm gonna sue their estate for life." Sal, confused, "But boss, what does that even mean?" Joey, rolling his eyes, "Just shut up and find a way out of here, Sal." As the tension mounts, a jaunty and comedic soundtrack starts to play, underscoring the chaos and absurdity of the situation. Joey and Sal frantically search for an escape route, while Mrs. Livingston watches from a safe distance, shaking her head in disbelief. Mrs. Livingston, to herself, "These real estate magnates are all the same. No respect for the law or the land." The scene ends with Joey and Sal finally finding a hidden trapdoor, leading to the outside. They crawl out, covered in dust and grime, and look around in confusion. Joey, grinning, "Well, that was an adventure, huh Sal?" Sal, nodding, exhausted, "Yeah, boss. A real estate adventure." As they walk away, the camera lingers on the damaged property and the "Easement restrictions apply" sign, emphasizing the consequences. California Property Ownership and Land Use Controls and Regulations Series. Episode 5. Fade in, exterior California real estate office. Day. A group of real estate magnates, all with ties to the California Mafia, gather outside the office building. They're discussing the ownership of a large plot of land, and tensions are high. Magnate 1, a brash and arrogant man, approaches Magnate 2, a timid and nervous man. Magnate 1, I think I might just take this land for myself. I've got the freehold on it. Magnate 2, worriedly, but I have the estate in reversion. Suddenly, a group of bumbling thieves burst onto the scene, interrupting the heated discussion. Thief 1, to the other thieves, all right boys, let's take this place for all it's worth. The magnates quickly band together to defend themselves, grabbing whatever they can find as makeshift weapons. Magnate 3, a buff and athletic man, grabs a nearby signpost and swings it at the thieves. Magnate 3, take that, you fee simple fools. Magnate 4, a wealthy but clumsy man, trips and falls over a nearby estate for years sign. Magnate 4, yelping, I've fallen and I can't get up. Meanwhile, the thieves have managed to steal a valuable document containing information about the ownership of the land. Magnate 2, despite his nervousness, manages to get it back. Magnate 2, proudly, that document is the estate in fee simple, and I won't let you take it. The magnates successfully defend themselves and their ownership of the land, and the thieves retreat. Magnate 1, laughing, well, that was a fun little exercise. I guess we can all agree that our estates are safe. Magnate 2, smiling, yes, and I think we've all learned a valuable lesson here today. Fade out. The soundtrack features a mix of fast-paced action music and playful, comedic cues to emphasize the absurdity of the situation. California Property Ownership and Land Use Controls and Regulations Series. Episode 6. Fade in, Exterior Luxury Hotel. Day. We see a group of well-dressed California Mafia real estate magnates standing outside a luxury hotel, discussing a new development deal. Suddenly, a loud explosion shakes the ground beneath them and sends them flying. Cut to, interior hotel lobby. Day. The magnates stagger to their feet, covered in debris. They realize they have been set up by their rival mafia group, who have also sent in their top hitman, Jimmy the Gun Giovanni, to take them out. Magnate 1, what the hell is going on here? Magnate 2, we're under attack. Magnate 3, we have to get out of here before Giovanni finds us. The group rushes towards the exit, but Giovanni is waiting for them. He opens fire, but the magnates quickly take cover behind a nearby trade fixture. Magnate 4, what the hell is that? Magnate 5, I think it's a trade fixture. I read about them in some legal documents. Magnate 6, who cares what it is? Just keep firing. The magnates exchange gunfire with Giovanni, but they are clearly outmatched. Just when all seems lost, a ripped-shirted, overweight real estate agent, Tony the Terrible Terranova, bursts through the door, wielding a bargain and sale deed as a weapon. Tony, you mess with my clients, you mess with me? Giovanni laughs and prepares to take Tony out, but Tony is surprisingly agile for his size. He uses his knowledge of acknowledgement to dodge Giovanni's attacks and gain the upper hand. Tony, I may not be a tough guy, but I know my deeds. As the fight rages on, we see a sign outside the hotel that reads riparian rights to be restored. Suddenly, the water from a nearby fountain overflows and causes a flood, sweeping both Giovanni and the magnates away. Magnate 7, what the hell just happened? Magnate 8, I think that was a reliction. Tony, no, that was just me showing off my seduce skills. As the group emerges from the flood, they realize that their troubles are not over yet. They are now trapped in a tenancy in common with their rival mafia group, and they have to find a way out before they are all killed. Fade out. As the scene plays out, a tense, action-packed soundtrack plays in the background, complete with dramatic horns and driving percussion. The music builds to a crescendo during the fight scenes, then subsides during the quieter moments to allow the comedy to shine through. The end result is a thrilling, funny, and unforgettable scene that showcases the best of both action and comedy. California Property Ownership and Land Use Controls and Regulations Series. Episode 7. The scene opens with two California Mafia real estate magnates, Vito and Sal, sitting in a luxurious office. They're discussing a new deal with their executor, a bumbling lawyer named Bob. Bob nervously hands over a stack of papers. Here are the documents for the transfer of the estate of inheritance to the grantee. Sal takes the papers and snickers, you mean the guy we're going to take this estate from? Vito nods in agreement, yeah, and don't forget to use the general warranty deed, we don't want any issues down the line. As they're discussing the deal, suddenly the mortgagor bursts in, armed and angry. What the hell do you guys think you're doing? You can't just take my property. He yells. Sal stands up, cracking his knuckles. We can do whatever we want. Just sign this quitclaim deed and it'll be over quick. The mortgagor looks intimidated but then pulls out a gun and points it at Vito. I won't be signing anything. Suddenly, a SWAT team bursts in, guns drawn. Bob jumps behind the desk, hiding. We're here for the reconveyance of this property, and you guys are under arrest. The lead officer shouts. Sal and Vito quickly pull out their special warranty deeds and testator documents, trying to prove their case. But chaos ensues as they scramble to gather their voluntary alienation paperwork, while the SWAT team closes in. In the end, the three real estate magnates are taken into custody, and Bob, who has been hiding under the desk the entire time, is left alone with the papers. As the scene ends, Bob turns to the camera and mutters, "I need a new job." The music swells, combining fast-paced action beats with quirky comedic undertones. California Property Ownership and Land Use Controls and Regulations Series. Episode 8. The scene opens with two California mafia real estate magnates, Joey the Hammer and Tony the Shark, sitting in a dimly lit office. Joey is pacing back and forth, while Tony is on the phone, furiously yelling at someone on the other end. "Joey, I don't care if he's got literal rights or not, we got to get that property." Tony slams down the phone. "Tony, the judge ruled in favor of the other guy. He's got ownership in severalty." "Joey, what? That's not fair. We got to do something about this." "Tony, I've already got my guy working on it. He's got a power of attorney from the judge himself." "Joey, that's great news, Tony. You always know how to take care of business." Suddenly, the door bursts open and in walks the executor of the estate, an old man with a cane. "Executor, what are you two doing here? This is a private meeting." "Joey, we're here to collect on our investment. We own a fee simple defeasible on this property." "Executor, I don't care what you own. The testator left specific instructions in his will for the property to go to his devisee." "Tony, what are you talking about? We were promised this property." "Executor, you should have read the bequest more carefully. It clearly states that the property is not to be sold or transferred without the consent of the grantee." "Joey, this is ridiculous. We'll take this to court." "Executor, you can try, but I'm afraid the judgment has already been made. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some reconveyance paperwork to sign." Joey and Tony look at each other, stunned, as the executor hobbles out of the room. "Joey, well, that didn't go as planned." "Tony, no kidding. I guess we'll have to find another property to invest in." As they leave the office, they bump into a trade fixture, causing a loud crash. They both turn to each other and shrug, before breaking out into laughter. The soundtrack kicks in with an upbeat, jazzy tune as they make their way out of the building, still chuckling at their misfortune.